Whenever we have a big feast or a big holiday in the church, there's two things that's going on. One is the popular understanding or the popular celebration of something. So for instance, at Christmas, we have all of this. And we have the gift giving and the food and the carols and, all the beautiful stuff we do at Christmas. And then there's all the stuff with Santa Claus and the snowmen, and all this stuff gets all piled together in this big joyful hump of stuff that we do at Christmas. And then at Easter we have lilies and bunnies and eggs and all the stuff at Easter. And at Epiphany we have the three kings. And all these things are beautiful. So before I get started, I just want you to know that I'm not going to stand up here and go, we shouldn't be celebrating these holidays the way we do. But what I do want to do is get at the other part of the holidays that we celebrate. And that's the part that has to do with our faith, that has to do with what we do liturgically together, that has to do with the spirituality of a holiday. And that means we got to kind of scrape back some of the popular stuff that we do. And not to say that that stuff is bad or that we shouldn't be doing it, but sometimes we have to move that back and look kind of like we're spreading the reeds open so that we can see out and see into this great mystery that we're celebrating today. And, to begin with, this great mystery is the manifestation of God's presence with us in the person of our Lord Jesus Christ. That's what the word epiphany means. It means manifestation or appearance. And it used to be given to the time when the great king would come into the village and, the king would manifest himself. And, there was great glory and celebration and trumpets playing. And so now we have the manifestation, the appearance of the true king, of the great king. And that's true for 2,000 years ago, and it's true for us today, that today is a manifestation for us. If we look at what this day is all about, it's the manifestation of the Lord who is still with us, who came to us at Christmas a long time ago and is with us today. The other thing we need to look at is the Magi. Because, there's the whole idea of the three kings, the three wise men, and it, becomes like, this is Three Kings Day, and this is, the day where we give more gifts. We didn't get enough last week, so we're going to have more this week. And there's more partying and more celebrating, which is all good. But who are the Magi? Well, probably actually they're not kings. And they may or may not have been wise, I don't know, but what they were religious figures. They were priests from Persia. And they were from a religion called Zoroastrianism. And there was a lot of, looking at the stars, a lot of astrology, magic, magi. There was magic involved. And I'm not talking about magic where you pull a rabbit out of a hat. This is like real magic where they would mess with the forces of nature to get things to happen. And so what was going on here when the three kings when the three magi come, is that these pagan religions are recognizing that this little baby here, or this little boy by this time, is the one that people have been looking for. Not only is he the king of the Jews, he is the communication from God that people are always looking for. And so they come to him and they recognize who he is. And they bring the products of their religion. They bring frankincense, which you burn to worship a god. They bring gold, which is the sign of a king. And then they bring that strange extra gift of myrrh. Somehow they knew that this little king, this child, was going to die. I'm sure they didn't understand, everything that we know now, but they knew somehow that this child was destined for something other than, all the trappings of kingship. The other thing that happens on this day is God becomes the God of everyone, the God of all the nations. And that's probably why we talk about them as kings, because what happens is when the three magi come, and we call them kings, this is the symbol of all the nations coming into Jerusalem, just like Isaiah promised in our first reading. And they're bringing their gifts, and they're recognizing that this is the king that we're going to honor. And so they bring all the gifts of their culture, all their personal gifts. And also, we can also read this as the church, the universal church, because since the beginning of the church, we have been embracing all the cultures of the world, and we've been receiving the gifts of all these cultures. And that church that we now call Catholic is made up of things from all over the world. And we are very blessed by that. And then we look at the gifts. What does that mean for us today that the Magi brought these gifts? It's very easy to get up here and say, well, we all have gifts to bring to the Lord, so let's bring our gifts. But you know what? We all have gifts to bring to the Lord, so let's bring our gifts up here. And the question is what is it really specifically in my life? What gifts are there that God has given to me that I am to bring to Him as my worship of God? A lot of times when we get up here and talk about gifts, we talk about stewardship and we talk about time, talent, and treasure, and that's all true. But I want to go again a little bit deeper here and say, what is it that I have in my life? What gifts do I have that I can put towards the worship of God? And one gift that we all have the same amount of is time. 168 hours a week, each and every one of us has. And time is probably the greatest gift that we can give God, is time spent in prayer. Taking time each and every day to spend 5, 10, 15 minutes, an hour if you can do it, every day in prayer, to let God communicate to us and let Him shine His light on us so that we can see God at work in our lives. And then we can find out, okay, what is it that I have? How can I respond to the gift of God's presence in my life? And maybe that's giving ourselves to other people. Maybe we do have a lot of money to give. Maybe we have gold that we can bring. Maybe we just have, a certain talent. Maybe we have a passion for other people. I could go on, but each and every one of us has something to give to God, to show that, yes, you have given me everything that I have. You have given me everything that I am. I recognize you as God. You have made yourself manifest to me, and now I give myself to you. So that can be a way that we look at this Feast of Epiphany. Yes, we can party, Oh, by the way, don't take down your Christmas decorations tomorrow, because Christmas doesn't end until next week. Baptism of the Lord. So let's keep those decorations up. But, we have Epiphany today, so we can celebrate Epiphany and we can do all those wonderful things. But be sure, over the course of this evening and tomorrow, that you take some time and reflect on the gifts that God has given you and the revelation that God has given you of His Son, our Lord Jesus Christ. And then ask yourself, what is it that I bring to the Lord? What are the gifts that I bring and lay at His feet and give myself wholly to Him, who is the Lord and King of all the nations?